The Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, whatever you want to call them, are a very good team, and there looks like they're one of the big teams that a lot of people are looking at and eyeballing it as one of the young teams that will eventually dominate the AFC. Now, when I look at the Raiders, they have a lot of pieces to be a Super Bowl team. I made a video about what makes a Super Bowl team, links in the description, but please, you're going to watch this video first because these videos are amazing. I know, right? They're just amazing. But they have it. And really the most important parts, they have the quarterback who, out of all the young quarterbacks in the league, Derek Carr is the most likely to be elite out of all of them. Then they got that great pass rusher in Khalil Mack. And then they also got some decent safety play. I want to see how Joseph does. I want to see how Nelson does. Obviously, Nelson was a bigger star in Cincinnati. He was okay with the Raiders. And then they got this guy named Ubi Belfayu, who I projected to go in the first round. He ended up being in the second round. He's a steal. He's not polished whatsoever, but this man is talented as heck. Yes, Ubi Belfayu is extremely talented. And when I look at the Raiders, I definitely think that they could be a 12-win team and possibly get a number 1 or number 2 seed. Now, the reason why I labeled number 1 number 2 seed is so they could get a bye. And in the past 4 seasons, and all the teams have mostly had number 1 seeds that made it to the Super Bowl, except for one, and that's the Atlanta Falcons. So ever since 2013, they needed a number 1 seed to go to the Super Bowl, maybe a number 2 seed, and I think the Raiders could be that good as a number 2 seed. And I definitely see them as a number 2 seed potentially. Obviously, a lot of people have the Patriots favorited to win the AFC, not only favorited to win the AFC, but also favorited to win a Super Bowl again. And when I look at this, I definitely look at the Raiders as a team that could definitely challenge them. They definitely have a game upcoming in Mexico City, I believe. This is one they're on the second Mexico City game 2 years in a row. Last year you had Raiders Texans. Now you're going to have Patriots Raiders, which looks like would be a much more interesting matchup. Not saying 2 playoff teams wasn't an interesting playoff, but you're talking about a team that's been around for a while, that's been dominant for a while in this generation, this century, versus a team that's just kind of up and coming, and that's definitely something you look at. Now, when you look at the Raiders definitely had a very good season last year. Obviously, if they didn't lose Derek Carr, you're talking about a team that could have made it to the AFC title game. It's very possible. But however you look at them, they don't really have that playoff experience, and that's definitely something concerned. But that's not really what the video is about. The video is about whether they're a 12-win team. I think they are. But I also look at it, there's some arguments against them that the reason why they ain't a 12-win team. If you look at their schedule, they're facing the AFC East, which that's pretty easy. The only team you're really concerned with there are the New England Patriots. But also when you look at that, they are also facing the NFC East, which was last year's best division for the NFC. And now you got the AFC, which I think is the best also division this year. Now, when it comes to this, the AFC West might be the one of 2 divisions where every team can make the playoffs. Yes, I think even the Chargers can make the playoffs in 2017. It's quite possible. Obviously, the Chiefs have made it to the playoffs 3 out of the last 4 years, and then you got the Denver Broncos, who were Super Bowl champions in 2015, so it's quite possible. The only other division that's also has all teams that can compete for the playoffs are the NFC South. That's the one team, and maybe the NFC East. I would also throw the NFC East there too. I think a lot of people, I don't know, I don't see it possibly happening. Obviously, not every team in the division can make the playoffs, but also NFC East you can throw there. So they're also in a very good division, and they're facing their own division, which is very hard, and they're also facing the NFC East, which is tough. They're not facing the NFC North. Obviously, the only way they would face the NFC North is in a potential Super Bowl. But when I look at this, obviously that's just what you have to focus on. Now, when it comes to the Raiders, the schedule definitely looks pretty tough. That's the one thing that puts it away. And obviously, they don't have the championships background to back it up. Now, when it comes to strength of schedule, I think strength of schedule does play a huge role. But one thing for sure, when you look at strength of schedule, I think that teams that win championships or have won championships, strength of schedule doesn't really matter, versus a team that hasn't won a championship in a very long time. Obviously, the last time the Raiders won a championship was in the 80s, but this is a completely new team, completely different. So you're looking at what they're going to do right there. And so when I look at this, obviously their strength of schedule is very tough. Now, if they do really well at the schedule, this is really, really good for the Raiders. Even if they don't go to Super Bowl, it's not Super Bowl or bust. I think really with the season, with the Raiders, if it's a success, they would have to, I would say, make it to win a playoff game. I think that's the first thing you would do, but also make it to the AFC conference game I think is also quite possible. So the expectations for them is anywhere from winning a playoff game to potentially winning a Super Bowl. Now, when it comes to this, obviously their strength of schedule could be a thing that hurts them there. But also, if you look at the team, this team could just prove that the team's just battle tested. So maybe early on or later on the season, this team could be a second half kind of football team. Obviously, last year they weren't exactly a second half football team. Obviously, they lost in the first round of the playoffs, but partially that's because of Derek Carr's injury. Now, when it comes to these Raiders, I definitely think that the one concern with them is the quarterback position. And if you haven't heard about Sean Smith, I reported this quite a few days ago. Sean Smith is in a court case which he could go to jail possibly for up to 7 years. And obviously, if let's just say he doesn't go to jail, he might get suspended because the NFL is allowed to suspend people even if they're found not guilty for their court case. They're allowed to suspend them. And as I look at this, I definitely think that quarterback could be a concern whether they're a 12-win team. Obviously, cornerback is not really one of my requirements. I think you kind of need one in the sense that you just need a good one, at least just a good one. But I think they have that with Sean Smith. However, Sean Smith doesn't play this season, and he might never play ever again from this court case. That could be a big deal for the Raiders because you're going to make Darren Carr Connolly step up. Obi Malfonyu, great talent, but he might not be ready. Then you also got Carey, so there's some concern right there whether that quarterback. So I think they could be eaten up at the quarterback position. Linebacker, not really so much. I kind of do like Bruce Irvin. I think he's a legit player, so I think you could have something right there. The interior defense, they might be able to beat up right there. But at the same time, I think that they should get through it. And I think they're going to be a team that you're talking about that's going to be battle-tested. Now, Colin Cowherd made a good point that last season that he says the Raiders are only going to be a 10-win team because they could have lost a lot of games last season because there's a lot of one-possession games and all that, a lot of games that the Raiders should have won. And as you see, obviously Derek Carr has a lot of comeback victories in the regular season, which I don't really care about. However, when I look at that, that's definitely a concern when they play only from a couple, they only won by quite a few possessions. But I also think that's a good thing because it shows that they don't have to play when it's ridiculously close versus a game where they're just winning 50-3. I think winning a game 27-24 is much better than winning a game 50-3. Obviously, winning a game 50-3 might be good for your fantasy team. It might be more fun to watch. It might be a lot less pressuring if you're a Raiders fan. However, I think 27-24 could build character. But at the same time, though, it's really about whether they can play in the playoffs. So that's definitely a big thing. But I definitely think the Raiders could be a 12-win team. I wonder what you guys think. Do you guys agree with Colin Cowherd about how this is going on, about whether they're only going to be a 10-win team in 2017, or are you with my side and think they're going to be a 12-win team, or even more? Well, maybe people think there's even more. Also, guys, I want to give you a quick channel update. I might change up my, I'm definitely probably going to change up my style of video, and I'm saying that's still going to be recorded in the same way. I'm still going to do it daily. However, I'm not going to be doing this with the Xbox One with the game DVR having gameplay in the background. I'm going to do it more so with a computer software. I'm going to try to get it, download it on my computer, and then edit my videos that way. I wonder what you guys think of that. And I think that would be a pretty neat way to do that. Also, I made some videos relevant on the topic. I made my NFL power rankings. My number 2 team, I won't tell you a lot. Some of you might already know who my number 2 team is in the power rankings. It's actually a dark horse kind of candidate. Videos in the description. What makes a Super Bowl team? Videos in the description. I also made one, is Derek Carr underpaid? Video in the description. Made the video on Sean Smith, whatever his name is, about his case or whatnot, is in there. The links in the description. Also, their schedule's in the link in the description if you just want to see their week-by-week kind of schedule. But alrighty, guys, thanks for watching the video. Remember to rate the video, comment the video, and subscribe for more videos similar to this one because I upload daily. Alright, I'll see you next time, guys. Peace.